happened in Brazil,
No,
what I
it's
try to explain
yes.
here is that we don't have a racial issue in Brazil because
There is some racial issue in Brazil.
no, let me explain. We don't have a racial issue as here
No.
because the apartheid never happened since the 16th century. Mixed marriages were legal because the church was the only one administrating laws in the church very quickly
Yes.
in order to have the columns a little bit in a more moral situation. They authorized marriages between white men and Indian women and white men and black women. Why? Because in Brazil we needed to give the dowry. That was the Portuguese custom. And for a poor white man to pay for a white woman was beyond his means. So he needed to. The church authorized you could buy a black woman, free her to marry, and the same for an Indian woman. So let me just tell you this about my own background. From my mother, from one of my grandmothers, her grandfather was a Catholic.
No, but you're taking the whole valley has to hear you.
Was a Catholic priest.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, if you want, we can go inside. If it's too loud. No, don't control him. Let him speak. We can go inside.
Okay, go inside. But we don't want to.
Okay, that's fine. I want to hear this. Really. Let's go. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, no, this is important. Really, thank you.
So,
What's up, guys? Marquez here. First of all, I've wrestled with like.
All our culture is mixed.
Yeah.
Her grandfather was a Catholic priest who came from Catalonia. And he was 23 years old when he came to Brazil. Well, he became a priest because I must explain this to you. In the Spanish families, like Portuguese families, there was no room really for the youngest male man. So the oldest would get everything. The second one would get studies. So he would become a lawyer, the second one. The third one, nothing.
Yes.
So church.
Okay.
So he'll go to church. So he had no vocation for that, but he came as a priest. Well, he gave up his vows. He had the first marriage with an Indian woman that was captured by, a hook like this.
Yeah.
And he baptized her Francisca do Amor Divino. Francisca of Divine Love. They had 15 children.
Yes.
She died. He married a black woman who died too. They had more, I think 12 or 13 children. And with his third wife, he had 50 children. Who was a white woman at the end. So this man had children with an Indian woman, a black woman, and a white woman.
Yes.
50 total. And that is only one side of my family.
Yes.
See, just to see, it's a very mixed culture, but we have a huge problem in Brazil, which is prejudice. That's what I was discussing with my sister, and with it's amazing. My country has a huge amount of prejudice. We don't have racism, but we have prejudice towards the poor.
Yes.
So if you are poor in Brazil, doesn't matter if you are white, if you are yellow, if you are black, you are badly perceived.
Yes.
If you have bad teeth,
yes,
in Brazil. But if you are from
upper class,
middle, doesn't matter. Middle upper class, doesn't matter your race.
Good.
So the prejudice in Brazil is a social issue. All the violence that you see in Brazil, all the violence that we have, we don't have a violence because a young black man was killed.
Yes.
Who killed a young black man in Brazil is another young black man.
Yes.
And who kills a white man, and who kills also because of a pair of sneakers.
Yes.
Because one was with a very expensive smartphone. So that's the problem that we have. It's social, it's economical.
What happened in 1898? What was exactly
1889 was 1888. I'm sorry.
1888. So Brazil was one of the last countries to abolish
slavery.
Slavery.
Yeah.
Good. So moving on.
So so we had the republic that was declared in 1889 because of that, because the aristocracy lost its support, because everything, the total structure was based on slavery. And so they were kind of rapidly integrated, but since the slaves that we had, they were already only adults, because the children could not be, by that time, since 1879 or something like this, a child could not be a slave in Brazil anymore, and an elderly person could not be a slave anymore, over 65.
Yeah.
So it kind of we did not have this hate like Ku Klux Klan and things like this, and they were working in the farms, and they still worked in the farms.
Yes.
Because Brazil was a rural country.
Yes, yeah, that's what they know how to do, and they do it.
We're not industrial.
American history is the same.
No.
No. Let him speak. Really, right now it's about Brazil. It's about Brazil.
Is not
I just want to know.
And Brazil is very rural. And just to tell you this, in 1921 we had the first census in Brazil. The population of Brazil in 1921 was 38 million people.
Yes.
And 78%, 78% of the population lived in the country.
Yeah.
Very little. So towns like São Paulo, like Rio, they were really beautiful towns in the 30s, up to the 30s, because the affluence of people from the
all the rural places, right? So agricultural places.
Yeah, they started in the 40s. That's where we started to have the first industries. The towns in Brazil were changing a lot, and that's when we started to have a lot of all these slums and everything, because all those people came without any qualification to the towns. And now we still have all the generations born from this huge migration to the towns without qualification, that ended up by building their own town within the town.
Yes, like favelas, right?
Yeah.
Is that favelas?
Which is in a town, in a town.
Wow.
And it became epidemic. So all the towns in Brazil, they have favelas because of that. And now, Brazil never had a very performing industry.
Yes.
One of the major reasons is because we were very poor in coal. All the countries that had a very huge development in industry, they had coal.
Yes.
Brazil had very poor coal or soil. And now, what is happening? Technology.
Yeah, technology.
And this is like in India. That's an industry
yes.
that employs a very little,
niche.
highly
It's
qualified part of the population.
Yes.
So we went from like America went through, had a very big expansion of.
I will take some notes about this because this is interesting. I want to sit down, please. Really, it's so interesting.
America went through this huge movement of industrial era from the end of the 19th century throughout the up to the 60s, 70s, when they started to dismantle all their structures in order to send to the. They started to dismantle everything after the 80s with the opening of China. So now you have in the United States this huge population of people working in warehouses. Because the average American is not being qualified anymore. America is now importing grains from abroad. It's cheaper, more convenient for them. They don't need to invest in their own population. The guys come from India, come from Africa, come highly qualified. From China, highly qualified to work here. So, but America at least had this period in which the middle class was built, a very solid middle class that has been dismantled. You can see what is happening here. Amazon has become the first employer in this country. So, but in my country, or India, we are jumping directly from a very not performing industry to technology. So the people really little qualification. We did not have a lot of factories and things to integrate them for them to be enriched. And now technology requires even less people.
Yes, it becomes automated.
Yeah, you have in Brazil those huge farms. We don't have workers on the farms anymore. You have a tractor guided by a satellite, and the farms employ one computer engineer to take care of it. So
people are becoming obsolete. But
we don't know what to do with them because you know what? They are my age. Too old to be recycled.
Yes.
Far too young to say that we're gonna die and we're gonna be rid of the problem. We're gonna have this huge population not qualified to this third wave of
technocracy. We're entering technocracy. I'm still trying to understand this thing with on a racial subject in Brazil. So there is no such thing as black Brazilian, this and that, because in a way, do you think the government just somehow manipulated it properly, like to avoid segregation, or what do you think was the pivotal point? Like how
it's a hot country.
Yes.
It's a hot country. It was not a Protestant country. We did not have this wave of this morality that they have here. Brazilians are much free in terms of sexuality.
Yes.
So we did not have the same moral oppression that they had in the United States, this moralistic Protestant culture. You know, I mean, we are Catholic culture in a very hot climate. People are hot. People feel hot outside and inside. And you do your thing, and then you're gonna confess to the priest, and the priest is gonna say, okay, you fornicated, 30 Hail Marys, and don't do it again. Okay, but the guy comes again, and another 30 Hail Marys. It's not the same. We did not have the same moral things. We are not a country like, for example, you used to say, do you know why you have so many, in countries like in the north, you have so many serial killers? Because of the repression.
Yes.
We don't have serial killers. All those very prude men that go to the church, and then when they die, you discover 30 corpses of young girls in his backyard. That's Brazilians are much more free with their bodies, and we always had, we have the dance, we had the carnival. The carnival was part of the culture since the 19th century. During the carnival, you know, you had like the nobles and the poor. They would put a mask on,
Yes.
and they would mix together.
They'll mix, so it's all races. It was never, there was never a racial question in any, I mean, whenever someone is running for politics or carnivals, it's all embraced, right?
And you have, and in Brazil you always had this
The beat.
African
beat.
root
The African beat.
Very strong.
Yes, it's you're right.
It's
You're right.
very strong.
You're right.
Why? Because when the Africans came, they had their gods.
Yes.
Oshun, Oshumare, Shango,
Yeah.
Yamansha.
Yes. Yeah.
We had all our
West African gods. Yes. Yes.
all their gods. I'm
So, with you.
what they did, when they met the gods from the Catholic Church, the saints from the Catholic Church, they started to understand. Oh, this is Saint George. So, what did Saint George do? What? Saint George killed a dragon. Oh, Shango killed a dragon. So Shango is Saint George. And this is the saint, blah blah blah. What she did? Oh, this is the saint that protects the giving birth, and that's Oshumare. So Oshumare. So you know, so the syncretism
Yes.
became completely part of the society. So you have white people. If you go to Rio on the 31st of December to the 1st of January, you see all these white people mixed with the black people wearing white, offering flowers and food and everything for Iemanjá in the beaches.
Wow,
because we all do that.
Wow, so that African tradition became part of
We all
that
give
pagan.
foods.
Yeah, it's
we
pagan.
all give foods to our sons.
Wow.
I give food to my sons. We all give foods. That's this thing about you must feed your sons. So you feed them accordingly to their the element that is attached to them. Some sons are attached to the fire, some to the wood, some to the stone, some to the water. Brazilians are completely attached to that. So it's very different. We did not. Do you know that we have people? Now we have doctors from Africa, specialized in linguistics, that they come to Brazil to some villages that we have in Bahia, that we have in some areas, to learn dialects that's still being taught up today, that in their countries they stopped to talk long time ago.
And those dialects originally came from
certain villages in Africa.
So
now
wow.
they must relearn.
Wow.
Coming to Brazil.
That's amazing. Let me turn this on.
Coming to Brazil, that's what they do. You know what I mean? So
Wow, even those
we all sing songs to Africa. We all have the song. We all Bahia, oh Africa, oh wow. We all sing those songs to. There's no question if you are white or black. It's Iemanjá is a mother. She's not asking if you are black or white. It's the great blue mother.
Wow. So that moment when, as you said, going back 1898, right?
Yeah, 1888.
1888. Somehow the politicians, when they abolished slavery, right? They obviously there were white rulers, you know. They integrated these slaves and embraced that society.
The thing is that was strange is they embraced their food, who have their food, they embraced the liberty of the body and the sexual.
Dialects.
The sexuality was considered, you know that the sexuality is part of the religion, it's sacred, it's your body, you know, the pleasure, it's sacred. There's no separation.
Yes.
Because everything is to celebrate the spirits, and you are always feeding the spirits somehow through your sexuality, through your food, through your money, you're always feeding them. There's always a God attached to what you. So it's not.
Wow.
It's very integrated in us.
It's integrated.
So vatapá. All the foods that we have from the acarajé, vatapá, all the foods that we have, all the spices from Africa, everything is very strong in us. And if you go to if you go to Salvador of Bahia. They don't consider themselves African Brazilians.
Yeah.
They consider themselves blacks from Africa. And they are proud to be from, because their gods are still alive.
Wow.
Their gods were not killed.
Wow, they still retain those traditions, you see?
Huh?
This is a major difference, you know, like I thank you. Like I see with the Brazil, and thank you for bringing this up, is that with Brazil, I see how they still retained the roots. The roots are there, and here it's not there.
No, it's completely cut out.
It's cut out. And why do you think it's not here? Like
because the Protestant religion, if you must understand religion, does not tolerate the embracing of other gods, because there is only one God,
only one custom, yes,
the Christ, and that's all. The Catholic tradition, you have all the expressions of God through the sense.
Wow.
So you don't. It's completely different, and that's the same that happens in Mexico. All the santerias, it's the same.
Yeah, there are a lot of pagans in Mexico, you're right. There's a lot of paganism.
Because it has been integrated into Catholicism.
Religion.
Yeah, all comes to religion.
Because I see, you know, like, this is what baffled me when I'm, you know, take Cuba, for example, as well. You know, people are worshiping, black people are still connected to their African roots. They're in Cuba. And Cuba is Catholic, right? So, I mean, the dances and it's all intermixed very well in Cuba.
The same for us, let me show something. Oh, I don't have YouTube on this phone. I still have
it's okay. We can you can let's just go on.
But it's just like I said. All the candomblé, all the santerias, all the voodoo, all the everything stayed very strong. And in 1930, they were authorized to come back to speak in their language and to preserve their religion. So it's not in 1930. You know, so it's like it's inconceivable for us. For example,
what was in 1930? Sorry, I sort of blanked out.
the Africans, they needed to call their gods by the name
Yes.
when they were in front of the Catholic sense.
Mm-hmm.
In 1930, this law was abolished, so they could call their gods in the name of their native language.
Okay.
So, was now, and all cemeteries in Brazil, there is a spot reserved for the evocation, for feeding, to feed the dead, and to do all the evocations of the Exus, the spirits of the dead. All cemeteries, they allow it in Brazil. It's a law.
Wow.
You must reserve a place in cemeteries for African rituals.
Wow.
That's nice.
Wow. That's very open-minded. That's so open-minded. I would never have expected that.
Oh, you got to have in a cemetery a place for they come to put their candles, to offer their food, to their the cachaça and the chicken with all the way they prepare it in Africa, everything you must have. This is very common for us.
You see how much the roots have stayed? Because what you're telling me, it just reminds me a lot from the traditional Western African, foods, cuisine, customs. It's still there, like you look at Ghana, you look at, Gabon, Nigeria, and all the places from West Africa. You can see it in Brazil today. They retained all of it. It's there. Isn't this amazing?
They wear their turbans and their white dress with all their colors and all their needlework and everything. I mean, it's very strong in us, and it's strong among the whites.
The white people that embrace it, because it's one, it's united.
A black guy in Brazil, he wants to marry a white woman. A white woman, we all mix.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
All mix, and was never forbidden.
That's what I like about you. You're a little bit African.
Yeah. Well, my great grandmother from one side, from another side I have Indian, the native Brazilians, and we don't use this term native. We don't know this native Brazilian, African. That's ridiculous for us. We don't say this. But nothing is only beautiful and perfect. Like I told you, we have a lot of social problems.
Yes.
But it's due to poverty.
Yes. That I understand.
Race. You know what I mean? You come in my country, you are considered beautiful. He comes in my country, he's beautiful. Because we like, all races are.
Yes, yeah,
and
you
the
embrace.
Chinese come in my country. The Chinese come in my country, they marry a black woman.
Yes, that's the true diversity.
It's not, it's very different. The Protestantism is very attached to the value of the purity, the white supremacy, the purity, because they have this thing about we are preserving the purity of the Gospels.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
We're digging it. I'm with you.
That's not. We don't have this notion. The gospel is always evolving.
Yes.
You go to a church in Brazil, and they are. It's very different. And I'm not very good in the movies, but it's
the true.
It's the culture. It's very strong in us.
Yeah, that's the true melting pot. That's actually the definition of a true melting pot, and I'm so thankful that you brought up the topic of religion and Protestantism, because it has impacted. I mean, obviously Catholicism, killed a lot of people, and but now when we apply it to race, I can see how it allows
place for diversity. The Catholic religion allows place for diversity, because you can make this, you can marry your traditions with my traditions. There is room for that.
Mhm.
But in a tradition that you have only God and the Son and the Holy Spirit, not even the mother figure, you must understand that in Protestantism, the mother figure has been annihilated. Because Mary is nothing
Yes.
in the Protestantism.
Yes.
In the Catholicism, the mother
Mhm.
is everything.
Mhm.
The Sacred Heart of Mary is everything.
Yes.
So when all the cultures, when you have the mother being very strong, you have embracing.
Mhm.
Because the mother is always calling
Mhm.
for all the children to embrace each other. That's what the mother does. The father is always punishing. The father is always educating. The mother's breast, milk.
Mhm. Yes.
All the cultures that have mothers embrace. All the cultures that have only one father. Jewish culture,
Mhm.
Islam,
Mhm.
Protestant, you see what it becomes.
Mhm.
When you have only
Patronymic becomes very masculine, very man.
and the culture that has a mother and breasts,
Mhm.
it changes everything.
Well, yeah. In Judaism, the according to Galatians or Galatians, I'm not spelling it right. The Judaism passes from mother to son.
But it's always a patriarchal society.
Yes.
The man has the right.
Yes.
The man doesn't need to practice purity rituals as
Yes.
opposed to the
Oh,
woman.
yeah,
all the
woman's
time,
supposed to do much
all
more.
the time,
Yes,
and things like
it's
this.
true,
No,
it's true. That
it's
I
different.
see your point. Yeah.
We don't have the celebration of the mother in
Mhm.
Judaism.
Mhm. Uh huh. Okay. I see it.
Like this.
I see it.
You know what I mean?
It's simple.
Because there is no counterpart for God.
Mhm.
And you must understand that, for example, Africa, what Africa gave to us
Mhm.
is that sexuality was open because the gods had sons with the goddesses.
Uh huh.
The goddesses were always pregnant. The goddesses were
Yes.
always pregnant of good crops for the fields and the good. We were praying for the pregnancy of the goddesses all the time.
Wow. Wow. So you were praying to the
For
goddesses.
the crops and for
Yes.
everything, because
Mhm.
my crops depend on the pregnancy of the goddess.
Yes. It's
So,
so true.
immediately there,
It's so true.
there is nothing
Actually-
against the sexuality,
Mhm.
because the god must be ejaculating all the time,
Yeah.
and the mother must be giving birth all the time
Mhm.
and feeding all the time.
Yes.
It's very different. It sets a very different psyche.
Yeah. It's true.
Because, you know what I mean?
Uh huh.
In Christianity, it's very different. The Protestant kind of.
It is because it. I mean,
That
since
is-
the inception of Protestantism with Martin Luther King and
That is just kind of sin.
I mean, Martin
Everything
Luther.
is a sin. We're
Sorry.
children of a sin. We're the children of the disobedience towards God, disobedience.
Mhm.
We are no. In the traditions that we came, Africa gave to us
Mhm.
the celebration of giving birth.
Mhm. It's so interesting how that's the big problem, is that for some reason we were conditioned to think of God as something masculine in the first place. Like we're
don't
attaching
have-
gender
We
to
can't imagine God without its counterpart.
yeah.
God has to have a wife.
Mhm.
They must be generating children.
Mhm. Yes.
That's part of the balance of the energy. Is the balance in the cosmos for the African culture,
It's
for the
true.
more primitive culture.
It's true. We have to
You've got to have the masculine and the feminine balancing the energy.
It's so amazing how the Africans brought worshipping of goddesses to Brazil, and it all just mixed. It all mixed and became one. It's just so amazing, because what religion would allow that? I mean, usually religion is very strict, like, oh no, this is us, you have to do it our way.
Well, but if you look into Hinduism
Mm-hmm.
and other religions that allow place for the presence of the mother and the father
Mm-hmm.
and the goddess, it's looking for it's more balanced
Mm-hmm.
than something that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Hinduism, I agree. Hinduism is very flexible.
And
You see women God, men God, it's all
Yeah.
very... Mm-hmm. It's true. You have to worship, but I'm totally with you.
you cannot have if you have only a phallic figure,
Yes.
but you don't have the uterus,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
something gets lost there.
It's true. It's true.
In your deep psyche, you know what I mean? Deep inside of you, something's missing.
Yeah.
I was talking with an African American in the building. I said, I'm so fascinated by you guys. I was telling to you. You just listen to hip hop or things like that. You are not interested in your ancestral sounds.
Yeah. That's very, very...
You know nothing about
Yes.
your ancestral sounds.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In Brazil, they
This
are
is deep.
completely attached to their ancestral sounds.
Yes. This is deep. Man. Such good.
You know
So
nothing.
good you brought this up. Yeah, lost. Like when you're lost, when you don't know your roots,
You are nothing.
you're nothing. Mm-hmm.
You're just nothing.
Wow.
So their struggle in the United States
Yes.
is still
Mm-hmm.
they are fighting to be acknowledged
Mm-hmm.
as citizens with equal rights, and that, but they have to begin with
Mm-hmm.
no notion about their own identity.
Yes. This is a valid point. Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, ancestral music, ancestral beats, that's, yeah, I haven't seen...
You ask from me, or I ask from you,
Mhm.
Ali, I want you to respect me.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to ask me, okay, and who are you for me to respect you?
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, I don't know what I am.
Yes.
You will respect me when I will know who I am.
Yeah. That's a journey, man. That's a wonderful, wonderful journey. We have to, you see, messages like these for self-discovery, discovering the roots where they come from, embracing and going back is very important. I think that's a very beautiful
No,
start.
well,
It can be very beautiful.
it's very funny because it's like, no, it's very different. Blacks in Brazil
Mm-hmm.
and and I say really blacks in Brazil
Mm.
and African Americans here.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And actually, we don't have that many blacks in Brazil.
What's the percentage?
No,
let's
no,
look
it's
it
not
up.
about percentage. It's just because what we
Ethnicity.
call blacks in Brazil are like you,
Ah,
mulattoes.
yes, yeah, mulattoes, yes.
You know what I mean? We don't. I never saw when I came to United States.
Yeah,
I
everyone
was
looks.
shocked to
Yes.
see so many blue, black skin,
Uh-huh.
and people have been here for 200 years and they still not mixing up.
That's the thing. It's very interesting. Let me tell you, because even people here identify me as black. They don't even think that I am half this, half that. Like on the street, I'm a black man. Like on the street, it doesn't matter that I have some features, or I have some sort of accent, or I'm like mispronouncing things, and it doesn't matter. It's profiling on both levels.
It's to see a black guy in Brazil that guy, you must go to Salvador, Bahia, and certain areas to see, because otherwise people are very mixed.
Yes.
I have a lot of it's very
Demographics.
strange because we got mixed so much.
Yeah.
You go to Recife,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd be surprised of how many guys, all those guys like you with your tonality of skin and your hair
Mm-hmm.
and green eyes,
Mm-hmm.
because of the Dutch that they were there for 40 years in the 17th century, and they mixed
Yeah,
up with,
multiracial is 43%. Pardo.
yeah, that's me. That's what is written in my passport.
Pardo.
Yeah, I'm not white.
Wow. They write it like that.
Yeah.
That's
Pardo.
You
amazing.
write it as not white?
Yeah, I'm pardo.
Really?
Yeah, if I declare myself what you are, white, only you would be accepted as white. He would be mulatto, I am pardo,
Wow.
and we have cafuzo, mameluco, we had a lot of, and that's what you put.
Yeah, they say that according to demographics, it's 47%. I mean, again, I don't know how accurate this is, Wikipedia,
Yeah.
but 48% European, 43% multiracial, so that includes Pardo and everybody else,
Yeah.
like guys like me and you.
Yeah,
And then we have Asian, 1%, and Africans that are considered like black,
yeah.
are 8%.
See how little there?
Well, still, in the US it's 13%, so it's not far off.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just because, but you see the quantity of mixed.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge.
So there's for a population of 200 million people.
I mean, even the fact that you have that graph like Pardo, multiracial, is amazing, because here usually when I go for a job, you fill out like African. I have to put myself as African American, because that's, it only gives you Hispanic, this, that. I mean, there is 2 or more races. I can use that,
Yeah,
but sometimes that's not even an option.
Well, it's like, for example, I went to when I was doing my papers for the green card, the guy, I spent like 30 minutes for the guy allowing me to put Latino. At the end, he did not accept. I needed to put other, because
Wow.
because he said, no, you're not Hispanic. I said, sorry, no, Latin.
Latino.
Latino. He said, no, you're not Latino. You are Brazilian.
Oh my God, that's so ridiculous.
I'm sorry, and here people don't understand. The guy laughed at me. He laughed at my face, and as I'm stupid, when I said, well, I'm sorry, but Latinos, the French are Latinos, the Italian are Latinos, the Spanish are Latinos, the Romanians are Latinos, and the Portuguese are Latinos. Which Latinos do you want?
That's good. I like that.
So how come
it gets
that
better.
having Portuguese and Hispanic background, I'm not Latino?
Yes. Wow. So
How
you
come that suddenly I become other?
Yeah. Not to mention you have black grandparent, great.
No, it ain't another. How come that I am not? No, because you are not from Mexico. You are not from El Salvador. But we are all. The southern part of Europe is Latino. You must. The French are Europeans. Oh gosh. Okay, sir. What do you want? Put order. Okay, sir. So let's discuss.
So it was, you ended up being other or Latino?
Other.
Other.
Yeah, because he did not accept, and he did not accept. The French are Europeans; they are not Latinos. Okay.
Wow. This is a trip. This is quite a trip.
You know, they don't understand. Italians are what?
Mm-hmm.
They are Europeans. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, tell me which ones are the Anglo-Saxons? Which one are the Slavics?
Mm-hmm.
Which ones are the oh my God, Scandinavians?
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand that here.
No. I mean, I'm
You are even more complicated because you are half Slavic.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Try to explain this to the guys here. They don't get it.
No. For them, it's very, you know, American system is all about this black and white. They say there is more flexibility, but looking at Protestant beginnings and the grounds of there is way less. And then talking about melting pot, come on, melting pot is in Brazil. There is no melting pot here. You know, it's all.
What they say melting pot, Ali, is you must remember that they are talking about European.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The pot. When they say melting pot, it's because you have an Italian woman who married an Irishman.
Okay.
That's melting pot.
All right. You see, I was believing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Really, I was just
melting
believing.
pot for them is a German. His father, who is British, who married his mother, who was German.
Mm-hmm.
That's melting pot for them.
Yes. Yes.
But if you talk a white man, a black guy with a white woman, that's an aberration. That's not melting pot.
Yeah.
Up to the 60s. That was an abomination. That's not. Can you imagine that here, the Asian people with could not. It was forbidden in California up to the beginning of the 20th century to marry any person who would be Chinese or Japanese or Korean. You could not.
Wow.
How many people unhappy? How many people had their lives destroyed? Can you imagine someone loving someone and you have nowhere to go and everybody's going to say, no, not this person.
Yes.
And this we did not have.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a perfect society.
Far
from that,
yes,
okay?
Yes,
but I'm saying this we
this
did
issue,
not have.
This issue was handled differently and better. And I mean, I'm looking at numbers. I'm looking at
this we did not
the
have.
demographics, and that's.
No, that is not.
Well,
I'll tell you, it was very common for the slave owners.
Mm-hmm.
They would have their wives and their sons,
mm-hmm.
and with the house negroes,
mm-hmm.
the women, they would have sons too,
mm-hmm.
and his sons were free.
Mm.
And his sons were free. And in Brazil, the Portuguese, for example, one thing that they would do is that when you were born in Brazil
mm-hmm.
at certain period,
mm-hmm.
even if you were not, if you were white,
mm-hmm.
just to be very clear that you were Brazilian, they would break your nose. So you would have a flat nose, so everybody would know that you are white, but you are Brazilian. You are not European.
What? Wait, repeat this again. This is so interesting.
Okay. A lot of times they would break the nose, so everybody would have a flat nose because he's Brazilian. He's not European.
Wow.
He's
They'll
not
break
from
the white
Europe.
people's nose.
Because you have a flat nose. We would know in your face that you are from there.
Wow.
You're not an European. Because the Portuguese, they could go back to Portugal,
mm-hmm.
but not people born in Brazil.
Uh-huh.
Because they are from the colonies.
Yes.
So it's a different thing.
Integration.
So we had our issues too. Prejudice exists, but it was different.
Mm-hmm.
An entirely different history. It's nothing to do. Nothing to do. That's why when people say to me, and I think that you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
People ask me, do you like better Brazil or France or United States? I said, okay. First of all, how can I compare United States to a country that had a complete sewage system
mm-hmm.
built in the 13th century,
Mm-hmm.
who had huge universities since the 10th century.
Yes.
And how can I compare the French with the American? How can I compare the Brazilians? There's no comparison.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no thing I like better this or that. I'm here, so I like here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there, I like there. I don't live in the United States missing the kind of food that I had in France.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm in the United States, it's
Yeah.
pointless.
Yeah, you're in the moment. You're now. You're here.
Right? It's pointless. We cannot compare. There's no comparison. Because this destroys your possibility to appreciate what is in front of you.
It's true. Yeah.
You cannot compare. Well, see you soon, Ali.
Yeah, was
I must
yeah.
go. I'm kind of a little bit afraid now. I forgot. We are not in cover in the state that I cannot drive after 8, right?
No, that's finished.
Okay, thanks, Robert. But I was like, oh God, they will stop the car.